So we're on. Welcome to episode 8 of 2 Minutes to Life. This is Adam and Tanner. I guess to start this week. Oh my God, I already lost my story. No, I got it. I got it. Um, so Adam takes ashwagandha and fenugreek just in powder form. You take it in just straight powder form, not even in capsule form, because you're a monster,
Oh yeah.
and you can handle it, I guess. I take it in capsule form, but I decided to buy some powder form ashwagandha this week, um, and it smells horrible. Like it's the worst smelling. I don't know how you just throw this in a protein drink and just like gulp it down, but this stuff smells like shit. Like straight up, just smells like shit. Um, and it's not even like a curry. The fenugreek's like more like a curry. This is like a dry, earthy dirt smell. So I haven't touched it other than smelling it every so often just because I'm like, how does Adam do this? So I'm going to try other ways of taking it because your way of drinking it or baking it sounds horrible to me.
I think
But
nothing makes you more of a man than just drinking stuff that tastes like dirt.
sounds like Boy Scouts. No, but on a side note, this week I've been trying to take my my fenugreek, my ashwa, my zinc, and everything every day. But I have definitely been missing my multivitamins. I haven't been drinking that stupid green drink that tastes. It's supposed to be green apple flavored, and I had somebody else try it because I have 3 canisters of it, so I sent one off. And this other guy loved it. He was like, "Yeah, man, it's great. I don't mind the taste." And I'm like, "Man, fuck you!" Like, I think it's horrible, but because this guy was totally fine with drinking it and has been drinking it every day, and he doesn't even go to the gym that often. He just started working out. I'm like, why am I being such a little bitch about this? So I'll keep trying it. I'll keep trying to get my vitamin drink in. I don't know. I might just turn it into Jello shots and just like take Jello shots of my vitamin drink because that might be easier. Just mix it with some gelatin and I don't know. We'll figure it out. Figure something out. But
Like, I don't know when it comes to healthy things. I mean, I get you could cook it in a way that's all right, but if you look at life, anything worth growing from, it's not easy. And so I kind of look at healthy food that way. It's like it's not always going to be easy. You just got to suck it up if you want to grow and drink some healthy eat some healthy food.
yeah, but I like to enjoy my stuff. I don't like to, because even like when I'm eating meats and like rice and whatnot, like my rice, I cook it in bone broth. I don't even like I'll use water, but I add bone broth to it, salt, lemon pepper, like seasoning, creatine. I'll add like 20 grams of creatine to like my rice when I cook it, because I bulk cook my rice for all my meal preps, and I love adding extra creatine in my rice. I know it's criminal, but I don't give a shit. So it tastes delicious. And then my beef, like I always season it pretty heavily. So I don't know how you do the straight powder stuff, man. It is rough. It is really rough.
You just chug it.
Just chug it.
Just you could feel the testosterone just skyrocketing when you chug that nasty drink, man.
I don't know about that. I'm gonna try some
No,
different.
it's not that bad because I put it in with my protein,
Mm.
and so it obviously affects the flavor a little bit. But I mean, overall, it's still a chocolate drink. It may be a little dirty or a little spicy, but
Have you still been doing unflavored protein with just the cacao powder?
no. So I tried that once. Absolute disgusting. I would never ever. I couldn't even even with this drink. Sometimes I can't get it down, and I'll
Mm.
just don't breathe out of your nose. Just chug it down. It's fine, and then deal with the aftertaste a little bit. But that one was so bad. After one sip, I couldn't. I even tried sweetening it. Yeah, I tried that once. Never again. Never again.
Have you tried like maple syrup or anything? Probably tried sweetener.
Hmm.
Damn.
Yeah, it's like no matter what sweetener you put in it, it's just that unflavor. It's just really bad.
Damn.
So I've been sticking with the flavored protein. My next science experiment is I'm gonna try cooking. I did cook with unflavored protein, and that's fine, obviously. So I'm gonna try throwing some, all this fenugreek, ashwagandha stuff, mixing it in with the cooking, because I've done some research and it doesn't change the components or what it does to you if you cook it. So
Yeah, because my
that's what I'm gonna do
concern with
next.
cooking with protein is it denatures the protein and can cause it to like curdle. Because like when I tried to add protein powder into my coffee, when it's like really hot, when it's around 200 degrees, it won't mix properly. It'll like it messes up the protein, and it's really weird. But if I can get the coffee temperature below like 150, it'll mix beautifully and it'll like work perfectly fine. And so I've noticed that. And so
Yeah,
I'm
I think from what I've seen, at least with protein and creatine, if you do cook with it, it's like a steak, right? Eating the steak raw, you're going to get more protein than if after you cook it. It's kind of that nature, as if you get you lesser the protein. It's still there, but it's less of what you would if it was just raw. So I don't know. I'm definitely going to research it more and play around with it, but I might just stick with these interesting drinks for a while. I don't know.
I salute you. That's disgusting. Nasty. Yeah, just the smell of this ashwagandha powder. I like tried to think of like what I could put it in, and I'm like, I don't want to put this in anything. Like I don't even want to put this in curry. Like I don't want to. I would rather just put this into a capsule and take the capsule. But we'll see. I have an idea. And I've got a machine to execute that idea for me. So we'll see how it goes. But so you're still cutting though right now, right? And then you're
Yeah, I'm on
switching.
my last week right now. So I don't know. I feel like the idea is Monday. On Monday I'll start, but I feel like Saturday night after my workout, I'll probably just weigh in and call it good. So
Mhm.
I'm ready to go.
Ready to start attacking the bulk. Dude,
Yeah.
bulking's fun. It's like I can see why I stayed on a perpetual bulk for like 3 years once. Um, because yeah, I've been bulking just this last week, and it's funny to see your energy levels change. Um, but it's exciting to see your PRs go up again. Like to see all of those like start to shoot up again now that you've got like a lot more expendable calories that are being stored. The only downside is going up in body fat percentage. That's the thing that sucks. I started losing the bottom abs, and I'm like, shit. So today, I like, just because my abs aren't as good, I've started intermittent fasting today. So I like didn't eat anything today. I was like, maybe maybe cut for like one day, and we'll be back to the bulk tomorrow. Just because it's like I get so self conscious about it. Because I spent 4 years working out, not seeing any results in high school. And I remember that. The only reason I did it was I was like, I just want to get a six pack. I just want to get a six pack. And then I got it, and I was like, I'll never let this go. And then when I bulk, it like starts to fade away, and it's like, no, no, don't go. And so it's hard. It's difficult because I like staying lean. So it's going well, but I had a Costco pizza. Dirty bulking is not advisable. It's not advisable at all. Inflammation is terrible. Um, and because of that Costco pizza, which I used to be able to like destroy a Costco pizza and like stay shredded, but now it's like the next day I'm just like super bloated, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I like that. Also, I had those damn muffins. This is what I get. This is what I
The
get.
evil muffins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I had experience this week because dirty bulking is such a appealing concept that it's growing a lot of attention on the social media side when you look at working out, and it's honestly kind of frustrating. Like I got commenting in this big debate on this guy's post just because he's promoting it. Is like, as long as you get your calories and your protein, dirty bulking's okay. And I mean, if you look at muscle growth, sure. I mean, I just looked at a study. Muscle growth's the same whether you dirty bulk or clean bulk when it comes to muscle growth, but it's the body fat that's the
Yeah.
big difference. And I can respect you if you're obviously if you're counting your macros, your carbohydrates, your fat, and your protein. That's good. I mean, and while you're dirty bulking, you're still able to count those and maintain those. That's good. But you also got to worry about your micros as well. And so I got in this big debate with this guy, and I said, the number one thing it's killing is your testosterone. And what is testosterone? Increased muscle, lower body fat. That's one of the main benefits of having good testosterone. And so obviously if you're eating a lot of processed food and sugar, that's going to lower, which is going to happen on your dirty bulk, right? Because you're eating a lot of sugars and processed food. Thus, you're going to gain a lot of body fat, and it's not going to be clean. And nowadays it's really discouraging. For one, you got all these people that are unnaturally boosting their testosterone. And so they're in the thousands, 3,000 plus in their testosterone when the natural, average is 700 or 600. And so by unnaturally boosting their testosterone, they're obviously able to dirty bulk and still maintain that low body fat because their testosterone's so high. Yeah. And so looking at it as a natural guy, you think it's possible, but it's not possible as a natural guy to dirty bulk and maintain that low body fat percentage. And it's just been on my mind a lot, especially, thinking about me going to bulk here soon, is just dirty bulking's not good. It's not the way to go. You're going to gain a lot of fat if you do that way. I say try to keep it as clean as you can and have a cheat meal every once in a while, sure. But I mean, if you really want to maintain that clean physique, as cleanest as you can from your cut, you got to try to keep it clean.
Yeah. And I think the biggest problem with dirty bulking is the inflammation. Is the thing that you'll notice about a dirty bulk is you put on weight quick, like very quickly. I put on like 6 pounds in like a week. Seems like 6 pounds, but it's more of just 6 pounds of inflammation. That's more of just like what it is. It's because of the sugars, the gluten. Those things are both inflammatory. Like they just inflame your body and your joints and your gut and all of your organs. They're just inflammatories. And so with you like cutting down your sugar intake these last couple of weeks, you've probably noticed a reduction in your inflammation. And the result is a lowering in weight. And when I was just cutting for the last couple of months, the last like 6 months, a year-ish, I cut my inflammation down to basically nothing. I had just cut my sugar down, cut my carbs down, and I got down to a 7% body fat. And it was amazing. It was great. My inflammation was just gone. And people would comment on it all the time. They're like, your cheekbones look so good. Like, your jawline looks so like lean and like cut up. Like, it looks so good. And just because of like the pizza this last week, like my cheeks are like now like swelling up again. And obviously it's not as like bad as it was when I was bulking a couple years ago, but just that alone, like, and I look at that 6 pounds, I'm like, yeah, this looks good on the scale. But in reality, like, I know it's just inflammation. Like, it's not actual like muscle mass. And I think that's the biggest confusion out there, is that dirty bulking, they think they're building all of this muscle size when it's really just fat and inflammation that they're adding to the body. And if you're going for longevity, I don't think dirty bulking is the most optimal thing to be tackling when it comes to a bulk. I think a clean bulk, you'll find more longevity in your strength and your physique. If you maintain a cleaner, more paleo, more whole foods like based diet, than attacking your bulk from a dirty bulk perspective. I don't think the dirty bulk is optimal for longevity. I think if you're just going for quick size, then yeah, it makes sense, go for it. But if you want to optimize your testosterone, if you want to optimize like everything in your body, your thyroid, like if you want to optimize your energy and your performance, I think a clean bulk is the best way to go. I think a dirty bulk, you're just sacrificing longevity for quick gains. Like these people that are on, TRT, and these replacement therapies, I think there's a long-term sacrifice that they're not looking at. I think, like we talked about before, anything that comes quickly is probably going to result in some sort of delayed suffering. And I think it's better to attack something with a delayed result. Even if the bulk takes longer, I think it's probably a little bit more worth it when it comes to your actual health, like your internal health. Because if we understand input output, then you put in pizza, you're going to get output inflammation and yeah, extra weight, but that's probably just mass that's in your gut that needs to be removed because it's just toxic waste. So,
Yeah. Like, I was thinking about this the other day, but it's a little frustrating the world we live in and people lack discipline. I mean, just the whole concept of dirty bulking. It's so appealing, right? I could eat whatever I want and gain muscle.
mhm.
Wow. Yeah, and that's why these channels and these promoters that are promoting these dirty bulks are growing so big because it's appealing. I mean, who doesn't want to eat whatever they want and maintain their fitness goals? But the truth of the matter is it's not going to be clean unless you're on some type of testosterone booster, which is going to come with long-term effects, you know? And so I guarantee if you're seeing someone who's maintaining a really clean physique on a bulk, they're guaranteed on something, you know? It's, I don't know. So looking at, I was researching sugar and the maximum sugar you should be getting a day is like 36 grams of sugar. And how much do you say a Costco muffin had?
It's 38.
So that's one muffin's throwing you over your maximum,
Yeah.
and it just so I mean, look at your diet. I mean, that's going to be my goal is to maintain myself under that 36. I'm going to try to be as clean as I can, you know, and obviously if you create meal prep and yada yada and you do this all without sugar, it allows you that 36 grams as kind of a cheat for the day, and you could treat yourself to a little something,
Half a
maybe, you
muffin.
know, yeah, half muffin, 9/10 of a muffin. Don't eat the whole thing. That's over though. But yeah, it's just been really frustrating for me just because everyone's falling for it. You know, the world nowadays, it's like we accept our faults as personal truths rather than gaining the discipline to say, no, I need to do what's hard to get my results. You know, it's just like, I eat fat. Well, I eat crappy food and I accept that and I'm going to get all my results I want from that. No, you're not. Like, you gotta, if you're natural, you gotta maintain it clean.
Well, I think we both have very different visual perspectives on this because you've worked out more home gym style for the last 13 years.
Sure.
And I've been in public gyms for since I was 14. So, yeah, 13 years. And so I've seen all of these different like things that people have been taking over the years, and I know right now it's really big just because they're like pushing like testosterone replacement therapy on social media. They're pushing all of these things like, oh, it's okay. And I know that there's a lot of influencers that are now coming out and being like, no, that's really not optimal. It's not. Even More Plates, More Dates, he was talking about it. He's like, it's not optimal. Attack your testosterone from a natural, standpoint, and you can maximize your physique. Like, there's no reason. Even Chris Bumstead, like he's talked about it. He's like, I take less. When he was talking about it, he's like, I take less now than I've ever taken in my life because I realize that I don't need it. That I don't actually need it. And I mean, going public gyms for 13 years, I've seen all the different fads. I remember back then it was like Jack 3D, and then it got busted, I think it had amphetamines, I'm not too sure, but a bunch of people were taking that for a while. And then there's just a bunch of the random things that, like the different testosterone boosters that people were taking. And I remember the big one for a while was like SARMs, and now it's just like testosterone injections, and then there's like peptides, which I still don't know any of the science on peptides, which is why I just stay away from it. But there's always been some sort of like steroid fad in the gym, in public gyms. And I know that you'll probably see that more now that you've started attending a public gym. You're going to see it a lot. There's guys that you'll see that you're like, bro, you're on something. Like your
Yeah,
back
I've
is
already seen it.
covered in acne. What?
I said I've already seen it. Just
Yeah. And there's obvious signs. There's a lot of obvious signs, especially when people are on something. Except for I know that right now the big thing is just testosterone replacement therapy, which I do feel bad because the biggest reason I feel bad is guys will get on these injections of testosterone, and then for whatever reason they run out of the ability to get these injections, and I no longer see them in the gym. Like they're just gone. They just stop showing up. And I think it just comes down to like if you can't get the thing, it it just comes down to delayed gratification. Like I'm so much more grateful. I'm incredibly grateful that I've taken the natural standpoint my entire life because I've maintained my physique this entire, and I'm always on season. Like I'm always pretty much show ready. Like I feel like I'm always show ready because I haven't sacrificed it for this like short term quick move up. And I've seen too many friends like I had a buddy, I think he was in the thousands for, he was 1,000 something for his testosterone. And he's like, I just want to get it to the max level it possibly could. So I'm getting on testosterone. And I'm like, bro, you've got the best test I've ever seen. There's no point. There's no point. Just eat some more steaks. Like, eat a little bit more ashwagandha. Like, don't do it. And he ended up jumping on TRT and he was posting consistent, fitness, inspirational stuff, and then it was just gone for like a year. Just nothing on his social, nothing. And I was like, oh, maybe he's just gone a little more private. And so I ended up reaching out to him, like, hey man, how are you doing? And he's like I wasn't able to take testosterone for a while, so I got really fat. And like, I was like, dude, you've been consistent. You were consistent for 14 years. Like, you were killing me, bro. Like, and you jump on this like once just to like get to a max level, and now you're out. I'm like, how long you been out? He's like, I've been out of the gym for like 9 months. And I'm like, bro, that sucks. Like, that's got to be painful. That's got to be emotionally like. And he's like, honestly, like the testosterone fucked me up. I was like, oh shoot, okay. And I don't know. I've never seen a scenario where it was worth it. To this day, I have yet to see a scenario where like it's been worth it to jump on something like that. I think the natural attack to your testosterone has always been the better route. It's always going to be the better route. Yes, it's delayed. Like, yes, the result is going to take a little bit longer, but to me, that's worth it. Like, I don't care. Like, I'll take the delayed gratification. I don't care how long it takes. Like, I spent 4 years trying to get a six pack, man. Like, I don't care if it takes me another like 10 years to get my coherent like body. I don't give a shit. Like I'll keep attacking it naturally. I don't care. Like, it's not worth it to me. Just because I've never seen a scenario to date in the 13 years that I've been going to a public gym where using some sort of steroid or steroid alternative has been worth it. I've never ever seen it turn out well. So maybe for some it works, but for me, hell no, dude.
I feel like it's more satisfying trying to seek a natural route because you have so many options like
Mm-hmm.
to help boost your testosterone natural. You have your options of cutting things that are bad for you, your sugars, your processed foods, the list can go on. And then you have
Mm-hmm.
your options for increasing it, just getting your macros and micros in the right place and trying out these natural things like ashwagandha and fenugreek, seeing what you can to boost it. I mean, there's so much room you could play with, which is honestly pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
But when you hop on things, I mean, your only option is to take more, It's just so it's kind of sad seeing the attention of the media, and they always go to the guys on things. Like, how many natural? I mean, I don't follow really any. Oh, I mean, I follow one. Just like natural people. Like, how many people are trying to boost their testosterone naturally? It's not popular. It's not common. I'd love to see that blow up. Like, let's tackle our stuff naturally. Let's see what's the maximum best physique we could do naturally without putting stuff in our blood.
I think it would become more widespread if there was a more natural approach taken in the media, which honestly it's not hard. Like when you look at it, yes, a lot of like the pros and whatnot, they all jump on something for a while or whatever the case may be. But like there are guys that jump on stuff and for a short period of time get off of it, fix their diet, fix their body, fix their hormones, and they get back to a great physique after like displacing their body in some sort of replacement therapy for testosterone or steroids for a short period of time. And I've seen some guys like get back to the natural level and get back to like a healthy and like really great physique. And they all kind of say the same thing. They're like, it wasn't worth it. Like, honestly, there was no gain. Like, yes, there was a big gain in the beginning, and then this sacrifice in the end, like, really sucked. And I think that the splash effect would be bigger if we attacked from a natural standpoint. I think that if people saw how easy it is to, number one, like, optimize their hormones and burn body fat like violently, like not even that, like, and I know that it sounds like stupid coming from me because I've always been lean, like my whole life I've always been lean, but I've put on 30 pounds of fat just because, like, when I was younger and got married or whatever, I put on 30 pounds of fat, looked like shit. I was comfortable, whatever, eating Indian food every day. I didn't give a damn. But I've learned how to play with my body weight. And so I was able to remove that 30 pounds in less than 3 months, just by optimizing my diet again and then moving back into a different industry of work. And I think showing people how to optimize their physique naturally is a better way of going about things than trying to push like testosterone replacement therapy, because a lot of guys will see these like, oh, just go to a doctor, get this, and then your problem's solved. And that's just kind of how Big Pharma has run for however long. And we're not seeing any good results come from it. And so the things that I've utilized, let's just go over the things I've utilized in the last, let's say, year of cutting down to 7% and optimizing my hormone levels. And I don't care if this gets me canceled. I don't give a shit. Number one, I've increased my meat. I've increased the amount of meat I eat every day. So long as I increase my meat, I will eat less carbs. I will eat less shitty carbs. I'll eat less pastas and bread. So increase my meat. I've increased my beef intake, increased my chicken, pork, ahi. Just increase my meat. So long as I eat more meat, I'll eat less other shitty foods. And then I increase my fruit. Number one, you need to spike your insulin levels if you want your body to tear through your protein. So the best thing you can do is get some sort of natural sugar in you. So I eat dried fruit every single fucking day of my life. Literally every single day. Whether it's mango, raisins, figs, I don't care. I love dried fruit. And there's some dried fruit out there that you like. I guarantee there's something out there that if you try it, you're like, damn, this is good. I like this. So I start my days, my proteins, before I even hit my dinner, high protein, I start my day with dried fruits. And that's just because it spikes my metabolism. That'll help me burn fat. And then I attack with the protein. And then when it comes to natural testosterone, I've always taken zinc. And I tell every guy, if you're sexually active or whatever sexually active, however, if you are bussing every day or once a week, it doesn't matter. You have to be getting your zinc in. You have to be replacing the zinc that you're losing. And if you don't, your testosterone will decline. I've been taking zinc since I was 19 years old. And I probably won't stop. And it's just because, like, that's something that you lose every time when you're sexually active. So attack your meat, start eating more fruit, start with zinc. That's like baseline, simplest thing you can do. And if you want to start exercising, just go for a walk. Like, start there. That's honestly like the 4 main things that like I have maintained throughout my life that has helped me just masterfully attack like my physique. Is just make sure I'm somewhat active, keep your meat high. That's just what I've utilized. It's just keeping my protein intake, which is just my meat intake, really high. And then just the easiest way to cut out carbs and the easiest way to cut out pastas is just incorporate more meat and eat more fruits, just dried fruit. They're easy to get. They're at literally every grocery store you ever go to. You just have to find them. Yes, they cost more than candy. That sucks. That's the downside, is dried fruit does cost more than candy. It's absolute BS, but it is the way it is. And those are just the things that I've utilized to cut an incredible amount of fat off my body, reduce inflammation, and optimize my hormone levels. And those are the basic things that you need to improve your testosterone and improve your physique. Those four things alone could shed and destroy so much fat off of your body and improve your hormone levels. But yeah, that's my take on testosterone and simplifying it, I guess.
No, I think it's a good journey. It's a fun journey to tackle your nutrition. You know, I haven't been too into nutrition honestly until like the last few months, but just trying to replace things. And it's funny, like the more you replace, the more you dive into it, just the level of increase, you know, because not only are you increasing your testosterone, but you're now getting more of the nutrients that you need, which, you know, help the body perform better, have more energy, gain more muscle. I mean, it's just you know, the more you tackle it, the more it starts rolling, the ball starts rolling, you start gaining control of everything in your life and start longevity, living longer and being healthier. It's just like it's crazy. Like I've been into exercise for, you know, a long time, but looking at nutrition, nutrition's more important than even exercise, I would say, because you could control so much with your nutrition. You control your energy, your sleep, your lifespan. I could go on about what nutrition can do for you. And so but that's maybe, you know, the number one thing people are doing wrong nowadays, especially in America. America's pretty bad with it, and our sugars and our processed foods is just, we're not tackling our nutrition. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're, first of all, we're uneducated in it. You know, I believe probably through grade school, every year you should have a class on nutrition, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And for two, it's just it's hard to do nutrition because it's so easy to just go get a simple processed food, you throw it in the microwave, you throw it in the oven, or you go to a fast food restaurant and get it all right handed to you. It's all ready, all made. You know, you don't have to spend hours doing a meal or meal prepping. And we're reverting to a lifestyle of simpleness and easiness over our health, which is saddening. Um, it's sad to see the acceptance of people, just even people that know is like, I know this is bad for me. I don't care. It's like, that's sad. Like, don't you want to be happier, be healthier? And I just started reading this book. It's really awesome. How Not to Die. That's literally what it's called. And it's interesting. The chapters, they go like how not to die from heart disease, how not to die from, you know, it just goes through all the diseases, and it just tells you the nutrition side of it, and just how you could control all these things. All these diseases are caused by what we're eating, and it's just it's crazy to think the power of nutrition and just the power it has on your life and what you can actually control with what you eat.
It's, dude, and I've been talking about it since seventh grade. Epigenetics, man. You can literally change your genetic expression by what you put into your body. Like, you can change the way you look. And be it 100% truthful or not, there are studies out there you can change your eye color with what you eat. This sounds crazy, but you can find studies out there. I don't know if they're true or not. I have no clue. But there are people that have changed their eye color with what they eat. That blows my mind. Like, that's crazy. And I can say, like, just anecdotally, that, like, I've changed a tremendous amount of my genetic expression just based on the things that I eat. Like, I didn't have a great head start when it came to testosterone, but I optimally tackled it. And, you know, you're right when you say that, like, you can change a lot about your life. You can improve your, not just your, like, mood, but your energy levels. You can change, like, the amount of fat your body produces. Like, this is the coolest thing about it is, I tell people all the time in the gym, I could stop going to the gym for 6 months if I wanted to, and I wouldn't gain a pound. Like, I could stop working out for 6 months, and if I optimally tackle my diet, I will not gain, and like, I won't gain fat. I just won't. And it's because I know how to tackle my diet. And it sucks because I know a lot of people didn't get this information growing up, and I didn't get this information growing up. Like, I didn't get this in school. Nobody got this in school. Like, none of our teachers were like, oh yeah, like, don't, make sure you stay away from gluten and like pasta. No, they were like, eat your grains, eat your pasta, drink your milk, like, eat your cheese. And then you find out later that, like, wait, these things are fucking up my arteries, man. Like, these things are slowing down my heart. And I know that it's a lot of just Western medicine. It's taught us these things. It's like, oh yeah, these things are good for you because they have X, Y, and Z in them. It's like, so does a rock. Like, you can suck on a rock and get more calcium than like you would get drinking milk. Like, not to be a dick, but like seriously, like you can get more calcium like sucking on a rock. But
I'm gonna try that.
no, don't do that. I'm not advising anybody to do
Everyone's
that. I'm
gonna
just
start
saying.
sucking on rocks now.
Calcification, it's a simple thing. But no, it's true. You can change a lot of your physical and even emotional expression based off of what you eat. This is a funny thing that I've found is like a lot of depression in my life that I experienced. A lot of it came down to my inflammation and my energy levels. Like the more inflamed I was, the less I felt like doing things. I'm like, I just want to sleep. I just want to sleep more. And the result was I didn't do enough to make me happy. I didn't do things that I enjoyed all the time. So I just wanted to sleep more. And then when I tackled my like inflammation and started eating better, it's like I've got more energy. I want to do more things that I enjoy. And then you see that depression meter like drop. And it's a lot easier to start attacking those like agreements that you're making with yourself. Like, oh, I want to do this. I have the energy to do it, so I go and do it. So it's crazy because the input of food will literally change, which I don't want to get in trouble for this, but you can essentially cure depression with what you eat. You can get rid of body fat with what you eat. You can improve your sex drive, increase like your metabolism. There's so many things that like nutrition alone can change. Like you don't have to work out 5-6 days a week. Honestly, like you could work out 1 day a week and just tackle your nutrition the rest of the time and you'd end up with a great physique. Like nutrition is literally 80% of it.
Yeah.
Maybe more. Maybe more. And it sucks
Well,
because we weren't taught this. Like we
that's
weren't taught
why
any
I
of that.
think it's so interesting about the book and what the author pushes in this book I'm reading, How Not to Die. You know, every chapter is named after a disease. And, you know, if you go through your average doctor, you know, with any of those diseases, what are they going to give you? They're going to give you pills, you know?
Mhm.
It's the big pharma. It's the one of the
Dude, that's why
biggest
I don't go to
industries out there.
doctors.
But in the book, you know what he tells you to do? Maybe stop eating these things and start eating these things, and it
Mhm.
literally cures a lot of diseases. And one of the interesting things that I've read in the intro of the book is, you know, he talks about genetic diseases and how, you know, if there's a disease that runs in your family, and he says 9 times out of 10, it's not genetic, the disease, but what's genetic is the way the family eats the food. And I thought that was so interesting because it's the habits of what you eat. It's the diets. The family passes on the diets, and the diets, obviously, what you're eating can give you certain diseases. And
Mhm.
so another thing I was thinking about as you were talking there is, you know, I talked about the upward spiral, you know, of tackling your nutrition. How, you know, you start tackling your nutrition, you get more energy. You get, I mean, I know when I started tackling nutrition and taking, you know, ashwagandha and fenugreek, my drive just went up, you know, and thus made me want to tackle more. And it's just like an upward spiral, but it's the same downhill, you know. If
Mhm.
you eat a lot of sugars, eat a lot of processed food, you're gonna want to sleep more. You're gonna have less drive, which is gonna make you eat more sugars, eat more
Mhm.
processed food, and it's just a downward spiral. So, I mean, it reminds me of the quote, you know, you're never standing still. You're either going forward or going backwards. And so, which direction are you going?
That's so true. That's so true. It's kind of scary. And thinking about this, I realized that growing up, yeah, we didn't get a lot of information on fitness and in health and nutrition. Um, it's crazy to see. like how these perpetual spirals happen in the day. Because when we talked about the wave of testosterone and how it works in the day, is how it's highest in the morning and lowest at night. And if you're ever going to test your testosterone, they ask you to test it in the morning because that's when it's the highest. And if you understand that your testosterone is lowest at night, around 7 p.m., understand that's your Achilles heel. That's when you're the weakest. That's when you're the most vulnerable to try things that will put you in a perpetual downward spiral of lower testosterone. So if you know that your lowest point of testosterone is 7 p.m., it's the one thing you're craving at 7 p.m. It's the gummy worms, it's the muffin, it's the beer, it's those kinds of things. And if you can slow that downward spiral by not indulging in those things, because obviously if you indulge in those things, that downward spiral is just going to like violently move. Okay, it's going to push that needle further and further down. So it's like, I kind of want a beer. Okay, now I want I want some candy or I want whatever. But if you can slow things down to like, you know what? No, I'm just going to eat my beef. I'm going to eat my beef. I'm going to eat my rice. I'm going to drink enough water. You know what? For a treat, I'm going to have some dried fruit or I'm going to have things. If you understand that 7 p.m. is when you're weakest and you're like, wait, right now is when I'm vulnerable. 7 p.m. is when I'm vulnerable. That's when my subconscious or my conscious mind starts triggering and wanting these things. If you understand that your vulnerability is at 7 p.m., then you can start attacking that vulnerability. It's like, oh, I'm just vulnerable right now. That's why I want the beer. Or I'm just vulnerable right now. That's why I want the sugar. Understand where you're weakest at is at 7 p.m. in the evening. I think that's the best way to start attacking things. It's like, wait, what could I do at 7 p.m. that would increase my testosterone? Or that would help my sleep to increase my testosterone? And something you've been doing is taking magnesium. And a lot of people don't know that magnesium is great for your sleep, great for your testosterone. It's like, wait, you know what, tonight I'm going to focus on getting my magnesium in before going to bed. It's going to help my sleep. And you're already starting to start this upward spiral of your testosterone. Like, oh, my magnesium, I'm going to eat my beef, make sure I eat my rice, make sure I get my fruits in so I increase my metabolism. It's like you start this upward spiral. And so by the time you reach the morning, you're at this violently high peak level. You've got great energy, your body's burning fat violently, and you're ready to hit your day. And so you started your next day with the day before, the evening before, you already strategically attacked your next day and your next day's energy levels. And I think that's the way we need to look at our health is I need to look at tomorrow's health. I need to stop worrying about today's health and start worrying about tomorrow's health. Tomorrow I want to feel great. So what can I do today around 7 p.m. that can make my tomorrow better? Because we think of a lot of what do I want right now? What's the thing that I want to taste right now? The sugar I want right now. It's no, that's not what's important. I understand that I'm vulnerable at 7 p.m. How do I make myself stronger tomorrow? What can I attack? What can I do for myself tomorrow that would optimize my physique or optimize my hormones? And I think that goes back to just our delayed gratification, is looking at things instead of what can I put in right now that's going to hurt me? It's what can I put in right now that's going to benefit me tomorrow? It's going to make things easier for me tomorrow. What kind of work can I put in right now that makes tomorrow just so much easier for me? And I think that's a better way of looking at attacking our testosterone naturally.
It reminds me of something, I don't know what episode I was talking about it, but anytime you seek improvement, when you start seeking the improvement, you have to be really humble. For example, if you want to start creating content, you got to accept that you're not going to have views for your first 100 posts or whatever, right? You got to be really humble and accept that. So the same thing when it goes to looking at your nutrition, it's I got to accept that I'm weak at certain points. I got to accept that I'm going to my testosterone's low at the night and I'm going to be tempted to eat sugars. Well, with all those things, it's just you got to be humble and accept when you're weak and accept, all these, that's how you grow. You got to accept your weaknesses. And the sad part about nowadays is, I was thinking about this is, just the culture of acceptance and how, everyone doesn't want to be humble anymore. It's just when you have a weakness, it's just who I am. I just saw this video and it was this doctor and she was overweight and she said, I bet you my career that exercise and diet have nothing to do with body weight. And she was really pushing that, and it was really frustrating. It's just because
Yo, fuck that
there's
doctor.
there's no discipline in that concept, no acceptance, no humility. It's just I'm fat because I'm fat. It's just genetics. It's who I am, and it's just something that's I mentioned a little bit earlier, but something that's been on my mind is everyone just it's hard for people to accept their faults and be humble nowadays and embrace discipline and tackle things that need to be tackled. Like if you're a little overweight, it's not genetics. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's certain maybe 1% of the population that have maybe some disorder or something that makes it really extremely difficult, but even so, I guarantee you have some control over your weight and your body and your nutrition and your diet. And it's just frustrating how even doctors nowadays are going up and saying, yeah, exercise has nothing to do with your body weight. It won't help you. Don't touch exercise. Nutrition, it doesn't help. It's all genetics. Just eat what you want. And no, you got to be humble. You got to say, you know what? I've been eating a lot of crap and I need to tackle my nutrition. Get to the point where it's like, I'm really tempted to eat this burger right now, but what does my body actually need? Is you got to be able to accept when you're weak, accept your faults in your diet and say, oh, I have a crappy diet and I need to improve this and this and this. It's like, be humble and improve yourself. Like, that's what the world needs, not acceptance.
I think the easiest way to change these things within ourselves simply is to put them out in the open. Like last week when I was talking about like the muffins or whatever, I told you, I was like, yo, like I've been eating these muffins and I'm experiencing inflammation. And you're like, bro, don't be eating them. Like, slow down, like chill. And I'm like, you're right, you're right. And literally every day after that, I would open the freezer, because that's what I would do, is I would wrap them in saran wrap and then I'd put each one in the freezer so they last longer. I would open the freezer and I'd see one and I'd be like, do I want to experience that inflammation? And I had already put it out in the open in front of you. And I was like, this is what I've been doing and I feel guilty about it. That's one of the best things you can do. And this also goes back to like addictions as well. If you want to get rid of an addiction, put it out in the open. Like, put it out in the open to be subject to be scrutinized.
In any addiction recovery program, that's the first step, acceptance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just accepting it. And if you can put it out in front of you, in front of the people that you love as well, it'll help you get rid of it. Be like, I'm drinking, so somebody was like, I'm drinking too much soda. Tell people around you, I feel like I'm drinking too much soda. The people around you will check you if they love you. If they love you, they'll be like, okay, what do you want to do? Like, I want to drink less. Like, okay, like, let's drink less. I guarantee, like, if you want to attack your diet, everyone around you wants to do the same. And if you put it out in the open, like, this is what I'm doing and I feel bad about it. Like, I ate a pizza this week and I feel bad about it. Now I'm really want to eat pizza again because I know the inflammation and I'm like, I don't like it. I put it out in the open so it can be scrutinized, so people are like, not worth it, man. And I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. How do I want to attack it this next week? And I think putting these things out in the open in front of ourselves, in front of the people we love as well, is one of the best ways to attack, like, our unhealthy habits. Is be willing to, like, admit them, be like, oh, I'm drinking this too much, or I'm trying this too much, and just tell the people you love, I feel bad about drinking this too much or this drink too much, and I don't want it. I don't want to have as much. I guarantee the people that actually love you, that actually give a shit about you, will be like, okay, what do you want to do? I'm kind of doing the same thing, and I don't want to do that as well. I guarantee you, if they actually love you, if they don't love you, they'll be like, oh, dude, you're fine. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, fuck it, Which those people stay away from. If you're doing things that you know are harmful to your body, and those people are like, yeah, whatever, it is what it is. You're fine, you're fine. Those people don't give a shit about you. If you're like, hey, I don't like I've been doing this thing and I feel bad about it, I shouldn't be doing it. And the people, if you have people around you that love you, I guarantee they'll be like, okay, like, yeah, like, yeah, it's a good idea to stop drinking soda. How do you want to do this? Like, that's the best way to get rid of any addiction, and I guarantee the majority of people around you will help you get over that. And that's a lot of these things, like gluten, sugar, they're all just like little addictions. Carbs, we all love the taste of a good carb. Like, we're all like, yeah, that little sugar rush from those carbohydrates. We all love that. But if you can put it out in the open in front of the people you love, they'll help you attack that. They'll help kill it with you. Which I know sounds aggressive and kind of scary, but that's the truth of it, is the people that love you will help you kill that addiction or that thing that you're doing that you don't want to continue doing. And that's
What's
the fastest way.
It's interesting to see just like even if they don't agree with you, a lot of times it holds you accountable because
Hmm.
I know at least in my work, uh, a lot of people could see me as like an extremist in a lot of the areas I am. I mean, even for example, I went like 5 years without sugar, without soda. I like cut soda out of my diet, just like completely, like not even a sip, not even one little cheat. And I mean, I rare like 1 out of 100 would actually agree with me or have the same mindset as me, but it still holds me accountable. Like at work, I'm, trying to cut all sugar. I'm trying to not touch sweets. And, you know, n- none of them are doing that. None of them essentially agree with that. They're like, wow, you're going to the extreme. But the second I start looking or reaching towards that donut, you know what they all do? They all look at me and say, that's not what you're trying to say. And it's like, yeah, you're right. So it holds
Yeah.
you accountable, whether they agree with you or not, just making it out there. So I think the it'd be interesting, how I said that's the first step of addiction recovery is just that acceptance and stuff. It'd be
Mhm.
interesting to look at all the steps. I mean, I don't know them all and apply them to different things like nutrition and such. But I think, yeah, accepting it and making it known is a huge step when it comes to improvement. Just, accepting the fact like, hey, I'm overweight. So you accept it and you make it known. And I've seen people that make it known but don't care. I mean, that's the furthest they've gotten. So there's obviously more steps to that. Say, I'm
Mhm.
overweight. You make that known. You say, I'm going to take steps to improve it by, I don't know, cutting my sugar, cutting my processed foods. If you make that known, you're naturally having people hold you accountable because, like, you said you weren't going to eat any fast food and you just
Mhm.
got some right there. So, and people are going to hold you accountable. So, I think
Yeah.
it's a good step to take. It's just yeah, make it known. I mean, what's it gonna hurt? You be a little humble, state it. See,
Hmm.
like right now, like when I go in my bulk, I'm just like I'm gonna try to clean bulk. I'm gonna make it known to everyone around me, and it's gonna hold me a lot more accountable because everyone's gonna look at me. And if I cheat on what I say, they're all gonna kind of give me a little glare,
Yeah.
like
They're gonna give you that look, like, "Hey, bro."
you said you weren't gonna do that. I'm like, you're right. So
Yeah. No, that's honestly one of the and when you said that I thought about applying the steps of recovery to your nutrition. That actually might work, honestly. All the steps of recovery to nutrition, which is kind of funny because it lets you know that all of America is just really addicted to food and
it
like
is an
really
addiction.
addicted to sugar. It's just a huge addiction. And it's funny because like when I went intermittent fasting, I went into like the violent sector of intermittent fasting where I wasn't eating all day and I'd only eat after like 6 or 7 p.m. And like people would look at me like, dude, that's insane. You're supposed to have like an 8 to 10 hour feeding window. What are you doing? You got a 4 hour feeding window. And it's like, no, I'm intermittent fasting. Like it is what it is. And I was operating like at a high function, like I was just moving all day. But the first little while that I would do it, I would get lightheaded and dizzy sometimes. I'd be trying to do something, trying to work out, and I get a little lightheaded and dizzy, and I'm like, oh, I need sugar, my blood sugar's too low, and I'm like, wait up, like this is how I've always felt when like my blood sugar's too low, and I'm like, can I just push past this? Like people have survived like 40 days without food. Am I just being a bitch? And I'm like, let's just push past this. Like I'm a little lightheaded, I'm a little dizzy, like is there a threshold past this? And I just continued working out and it would like go away. And I'm like, wait up, like, was that just like an intense withdrawal symptom? Like, is that like, oh, I'm lightheaded and dizzy? Was that just a withdrawal symptom from the sugar? And I realized that's probably what it is. And I'm not saying this is factual. I don't want to get canceled for that. But I'm just saying that like your body can produce its own sugars. This is well known. This has been discovered and is acted through intermittent fasting. Because of intermittent fasting, we have found that the body produces its own sugars. And so to say that you have to have sugar is bullshit. It's not true. Your body can produce its own sugars. Your low blood sugar, which I'll back off on that one a little bit because I know that that's a touchy one. But I'd be willing to bet you just have an addiction. And if you put it out in the open, you can attack that addiction with the people that you love and change it or kill it. And that's probably the best way to do it is attack the, what is it, 10 steps of recovery? Is it 12 steps? I think it's 12 steps. I don't know.
It's
It's been a
12
long
step.
time.
12-step addiction recovery, I think, is one of
Yeah.
the programs out there.
It's funny because I've done it. I've done the 12-step program. I just don't even remember it. I
Bad.
was like 19. Yeah, I was 19. Yeah,
No,
so many years ago.
I'll look into that. That'd be interesting to apply it. We could talk about it next
That
time
would be
maybe.
interesting. I
But
want to look at it and see if it applies.
I do think, yeah, food is definitely probably America's greatest addiction. You know, that'd be a good name of a book or a movie or something. You know, America's greatest addiction.
Mhm.
But I mean, I'm addicted. I mean, who doesn't like? Even my cheat meals, my two a day. I accidentally said
When you
two a
said
day
that,
on the last episode. I meant two a week. I'm not cheating 2 times a day, but no, like even
oh
like my
my
two cheat
God.
meals a week, it's just like, man, I really want that go get that fast food, And so even with my fast food, I'm trying to I'm at least trying to keep my calories in line and my protein where it should be and my fats. I mean, but it's fast food and processed food, it's addicting. It's an addiction. I would say
It
for
definitely is.
everyone probably. So
It's kind of crazy. All right, enough harping on the heavyweights. I'm sorry.
I want to be heavy.
No, all in good. What is it called? I
Good
don't even
intention.
remember. Who gives a shit? All right, let's go over our goals. How'd you do last week, man? What was your
Okay.
intellectual goal?
I was gonna finish that book, Man's Search for Meaning.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I finished it.
You finished it?
It was extremely insightful. It's
Was it?
really really interesting book. Um, his way of writing was different for me, so it was really hard, honestly, to follow a lot of it. But at the same time, like I enjoyed it. It's really interesting to look at, on the brink of when you have nothing, you're really able to find if you have meaning in your life. And so it's a good read. I
Was
suggest
it good?
it, but I
Would
got that.
would you put it in the top 10?
See, its ideas are definitely top 10. But
Okay.
like I said, just the way he wrote it, I mean, it's literally like just 2 chapters. And so you keep, and I don't know, just the way of writing, it was really hard for to follow. So like, I definitely like the ideas you can pull for that are great. I wouldn't necessarily put it in the top 10, but I really did enjoy it. I'll maybe in a few years come back to it, hopefully pull more out of it, but I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
So
Okay, fitness.
let me think of what was my physical goal? Shoot, I'm spacing.
I know the
It
week.
was oh yeah, it was my physical routine. I'm basically establishing what I want to do for my bulk is
Yeah.
establish 6 rep maxes for my certain lifts, and
Mhm.
I did that, and I'm now tackling my second week of that, trying to get them up, even though I'm still cutting, but I'm just establishing it for my bulk. So it's been exciting. It's extremely fun. I'm super excited for my bulk to just keep on trying to bump those PRs and put on weight, put on muscle, don't put on much fat. So I got it. It's pretty fun. Should be pretty fun. Rolling off of that, let me establish new goals. For my physical, let's go off of because I'm gonna start my bulk here in a few days. So when I start my bulk, I'm gonna aim for 3,000 calories, I believe, starting off. See how that feels. Healthy calories, not dirty. So I'm gonna basically establish that this week. So that'll be my goal this week, to try to get in there and get the 3,000 daily pattern going. And I got a lot to experiment with on how I want to continue my shakes and what foods I want. It's gonna be so that'll be my process this week, and going alongside that with my intellectual. This is going to be a huge week of change because my schedule's going from nights to days. I'm going from a cutting to a bulk, a lot of things. So I'm going to try to maintain especially in a change period, it's hard to keep your routines. And so one thing that's been even just hard on the same schedule this last week is I want to keep my meditation. I mean, waking up and doing some yoga, focusing on my breathing and stretching has been it just great head start for the day. Just get all a bunch of oxygen in your brain. Drink a lot of water. I go out and get some sunlight. So I'm gonna, for my intellectual goal, I want to maintain that routine as best I can through this transition period, so I could get that head start when I start bulking here in a few days. So that'll be my two goals.
Okay.
Let's move on to you.
Oh God. Okay, so my intellectual goal was to get halfway through Think and Grow Rich. Since we last spoke, I read 2 pages of that book, and then I picked up The Alchemist. And there's a funny story about this. So years ago, I was a car salesman at a Toyota lot, and this guy came in to buy this truck, this brand new Tundra, and it was like 63 grand, and he was paying in cash. And I thought that was crazy. And so, but I was selling him this truck, and I remember talking to him, and I could tell he was incredibly successful. This guy was making dumb money. And I was like, dude, I gotta ask you, I'm into reading now. What book would you recommend me read? And he goes, The Alchemist. And I was like, okay. And I pulled out my phone, and I immediately bought the book right then and there. And he's like, well, I've never seen anybody do that. And I was like, I'm all about reading right now, so I'm trying to read more books. I didn't touch the book. I didn't read it. And this last week I was trying to read Think and Grow Rich, and I was applying some of the steps, and I read those 2 pages, and then I was going through my library on my phone, and I saw The Alchemist. And I was like, why did I never read that book? And so I read it. In one day. It was 70 pages. I just blasted through it. I couldn't fucking put it down, dude. I could not put this book down. And it is probably one of the best books I've ever read in my entire life. I was blown away. I was like, this is so good. It was really, really, really good. When I finished it, I was literally crying, and I called my brother, and I was like, you need to read this book. And he was like, really? And I was like, dude, this is one of the best books I've ever read in my life. Typically it takes me 4 or 5 days to blast through a book. This one, I started in the morning. I was like, I was literally looking, because I was going to read my Think and Grow Rich, but I opened the first page, and I was like, let's just read a couple pages. And when I looked down, I was on page 35, and I was like, what the hell? And I was like, just a couple more pages, and I kept reading, and then I looked down, and I was on page 66, and I was like, I'm gonna finish this book. This is a really freaking good book. So I read that. So I do intend on continually reading Think and Grow Rich. I do intend on finishing that, but I got to read The Alchemist this last week, and that was really good. So anybody who has not read that book or is thinking about reading that book, I highly, highly, highly recommend that book. Top 5 for sure.
What's it about?
It's about this kid named Santiago, and he's a shepherd boy, and he goes in search of this treasure. And dude, it's just I don't want to get emotional about it. It is really good. He's just this shepherd, and he has these dreams, this reoccurring dream 2 nights in a row, and so he goes and tries to find out what this dream's about. So he sees this gypsy, and she tells him that the treasure's real and he needs to go find it. And he's like, I didn't need to pay you for that or whatever, and he decides to go out on this adventure to find this treasure, and along the way he meets this alchemist who can turn anything into gold, any material into gold, and he doesn't even care. He just wants to find his treasure, and it's this really, really good book. It's a really good book. Really happy ending. It's one of those ones that just comes full circle and hits you right at the end, and you're like, yes, that's what I needed. That's exactly what I want to hear about. Because it's essentially the story of everybody's life, of what they're really looking for. But yes, hands down, probably the best book I've ever read, and I'll be reading it again, probably this next week, just because it was, a book that ends in great satisfaction, that leaves you really satisfied in the end. You're like, oh, thank God. That's The Alchemist. So yeah, hands down one of the best. Physical goal, I think was to eat 2 pounds of beef 5 days last week. I don't know if I hit 5 days. I ate all of my pork, ate all of it really quick, like really, really quick. Um, like 3 days. So, but I did end up going back to beef. So I think I hit 4 days of like 2 pounds of beef, but after that I went down to like a pound of meat, maybe. Definitely a pound. So I hit consistently 7 days of a pound of meat. So that's good. But I don't think I hit 5 days of 2 pounds. So um, let's see. Goal this week. Let's do the intellectual goal. Let's continue to think and grow rich. Let's hope I don't get sidetracked. Another book. And then physical goal. I liked yours with meditations in the morning, meditating in the morning or yoga. And that was something that I had previously dated somebody a while ago that would stretch every morning. And I thought that was interesting. And I was like, why do you do that? And they were like, it feels really good to start my day this way. And so when you mentioned that you were doing yoga in the morning and it feels really good, I had done it a couple of times and you're right, it feels fucking amazing. So this week, I just want to do my breathing exercises in my yoga, not yoga, just stretching, like deep stretches, because I just do like static stretches. I want to start doing that in the mornings, like right as I wake up. Getting into the habit of doing that. So that'll be my physical one, is just start building a routine of just stretching in the morning and getting back to my breathing exercises, because I'm not doing any of my breathing exercises and I haven't done them for like 2 weeks. It's like a week maybe. I want to get back into my routine of doing
Well,
that
I
because
think
that does
you
help.
just jump into that really quick. Like morning, how you start your morning each day is going to determine how your day goes, I feel like. And so, like, honestly, I feel like the majority of people, you know, you have your phone right next to your bed, your alarm goes off, and what do? You're going to be scrolling on your phone. And so what has really been helpful to me is I set these smart lights to go on, and they wake me up pretty well because, you know, when a bright light just pops on in the morning, and my alarm doesn't go off for another 15 minutes. And so what I do is for that 15 minutes, I jump right out of bed and go right into it for a solid 15 minutes of just focusing on stretching and breathing and doing that yoga. And it's been extremely helpful because, for one, I'm not going to spend countless time on my phone, and it's just getting the oxygen and the stretching, and it just sets my day for success, basically. So
It's really smart.
it's been
That's
really
really
good.
smart. I should try that. Yeah, I want to stretch in the mornings again. I liked when I would stretch in the mornings the few times that I was doing that.
It's like
So that'll be
what's that? What's the habit book? Atomic
Atomic
Habits.
Habits.
Yeah, it's basically
Such
like
a
he
good one.
says is you got to have I don't know what the cause, right? So before I
Hmm.
touch my phone, I'm gonna do this, and it's extremely
Oh,
helpful.
habit
See,
stacking.
yeah. So
Very
basically,
like
before I touch my phone in the morning, I'm gonna get that stretch in, and it's just been extremely helpful because, you know, if I start with my phone, I'm gonna spend who knows how long on my phone. But if I start with my stretching, I'm gonna get that done. Spend 2 seconds on my phone checking, and then my day's off to a great start. So it's been really good.
all right. Yeah. I'm pretty good about not touching my phone in the morning. I'm pretty good about just like leaving it there, going and getting stuff done really quick. Because it's just, I don't like whatever's on my phone to set the mood for the day. I don't like that idea that somebody else is going to decide my mood for the day before I do. That like really pisses me off. That whole idea pisses me off. So I don't like looking at it in the morning. That's just something I've been doing for a long time. Just like stay the fuck away from my phone in the morning.
That's good.
Because there's always some sort of like noise. There's always some
Sure.
noise coming at you for whatever thing, and I don't think it matters to me in the morning. I think my water is most important to me, and like hanging out, like being happy before something pissing me off. So,
That's good.
all right. Well, that
Okay.
concludes episode 8 of 2 Minutes to Life. We will see you guys next week.